Buenísimo. Que lo que mi gente? Welcome to my universe. Welcome back to my universe. Welcome to another episode of the Things I Never Said podcast. So, I do want to make a couple of disclaimers before I begin. First and foremost, I want to let you know that I am going to be discussing some things about the Gabby or Gabrielle Petito case. So, or not really the case, honestly, just the situation and some things that I take away from it. So, if you are triggered, if you are sensitive right now, you might want to just not listen to anything that I have to say. I really don't care if you do. If you'd like to, then that's great. If you don't want to, that's great as well. Go watch another video. Another thing that I want to say is this is not the platform or the proper comment section to be sitting there typing things like, now is not the time. Oh my God, her death was just pronounced. Please give it a month. No, 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 no. I learned a long time ago that when it comes to the truth, when it comes to a perspective that you don't want to hear, you will never be ready to receive it if you don't want to. If you don't want to receive it, then that's fine. Say out loud that you don't want to receive it and move on. Vete, go. Just move on. But you're not going to affect me in the slightest bit or how I think about myself or anybody else who agrees with my sentiments by saying that I am insensitive or someone is insensitive for pointing out the kinds of things that I'm about to point out, because I know that there's a lot of validity and merit to the things that I'm going to say, despite the fact that you may not be ready to hear it right now in your life due to the kinds of behaviors that you practice, despite how toxic they may be. Moving on. Moving on. So I believe the title of this video is something like, what is something that we can all learn from Gabby Petito? It's something like that, yo no sé. And I just want to express that what stood out the most to me after reading so many articles about this case and her untimely, unfortunate demise is that we as people, as individuals, first and foremost, have to stop protecting our abusers. No, I am not saying that it's her fault that she has passed away. I don't know what has happened. I don't know. But I do know that several people have come out and witnessed or said that they witnessed that she was in a toxic relationship. I just read an article about the couple that witnessed her crying and being emotional at a Mexican restaurant in Wyoming days before she must have disappeared, because the man made it back, her boyfriend made it back to Florida on September 1st, okay? And it takes about 31 hours and 35 minutes to drive from Wyoming to Florida. So obviously he had to have left by the August 30th or August 31st to get there on September 1st. The van was spotted around August 27th on the video footage of that van life YouTube family that recently did an interview with Fox News and probably some other publications. So obviously the girl disappeared sometime between August 28th through the 29th. That's just what my math is telling me. However, the details of her disappearance are not that relevant to the fact that numerous people, like her sister or his sister, came out and said that they fought like that often. The body cam footage that I believe took place on August 12th shows this girl crying, probably the same way she was crying in the restaurant while she talked to the police. This girl was crying. If you look at the still images of her face, it is really, really sad. It's really sad to see someone as emotionally distraught as she was. And what I am basically expressing is that there's obviously been a pattern of her being emotionally distraught and her boyfriend looking like the one who has the temper problem. In the comment section of one of the videos that I watched, someone pointed out something that I learned a long time ago, which is that usually when you are a victim of abuse, your abuser knows how to remain really calm and composed, which only makes you look like the crazy person or the person who's unstable. They do that on purpose. They are manipulative. So it wasn't a surprise to me that he seemed completely calm despite all the scratches that the police officers noted on his skin or on his arms in particular. It's not a surprise to me that he seemed really calm. It is also not a surprise to me that this girl protected her abuser, because unfortunately, a lot of us have a pattern and a habit of doing that. And that's what I wanted to get to in this podcast. That is the reason I even decided to speak any of my thoughts about this situation. I've been keeping up, I've been following, I've been curious, I've been following this like many other people in this country and possibly around the world. And I really think that a lot of us girls, a lot of us young women and older women have been done a disservice because our mothers and our grandmothers most likely accepted even worse situations and conditions in their relationships than what we are currently accepting today. I know this firsthand. I know more people whose parents are in toxic, dysfunctional relationships than I know people who are happily married or content in their intimate or romantic relationships. I know more people whose parents are just together, but they are not together, okay? They're not intimate. They're not happy. They're waiting for one another to just roll over and die because they're miserable. The woman is miserable. Your grandmother is miserable. Your grandmother was miserable. Your mother is miserable, or she was miserable. And what our grandmothers and our mothers keep on showing us is how to end up in situations like Miss Gabrielle Petito, unfortunately. As rough as that may sound, it is true. How many times do you need to see a case of a woman disappearing and then being found dead, and information coming out later that she died due to a domestic dispute, aka an abusive partner? How many of you have mothers and grandmothers and sisters and cousins who can tell you firsthand that they were abused and they stayed in that situation for years? The fact that this girl was crying so much, the fact that this Gabrielle Petito girl was so emotionally distraught in this relationship, and that it is captured on camera, and that several witnesses came out to confirm that their relationship was toxic, lets me know that there is or was a woman in her family, in her life, in her friend circle, who showed her that it was okay and acceptable to be in a toxic relationship. I just found out that the two people that the news media keeps referring to as her parents are actually her biological mother and her mother's husband, the stepfather. So I wonder, not that I need to have an answer, but I wonder, what did this Gabrielle Petito girl see? Her mother endure? Her father or her stepfather or another man or another guy in her life due to a woman, to make her think that being yelled at and physically abused was okay? I listened to the 911 report from a gentleman who said that he saw this Gabrielle Petito's boyfriend slapping her across her face. This girl was in an abusive relationship. And one of the really sad things to me is that they were so focused on capturing these quote unquote Instagram worthy photos and videos of themselves. That's really sad to me. It's really sad that a lot of you are in the same exact position that this girl was in before she died, unfortunately. A lot of you pose for the camera, you kiss up on your boyfriend, you kiss up on your girlfriend, and as soon as the camera turns off, you're getting slapped across your face for not posing correctly or not smiling enough in the video. You're getting choked. You all are in toxic, dysfunctional, damn near deadly relationships with these people that you call your romantic partner or your loved one. And if you do not want to end up in a situation like Gabrielle Petito and any of these other women who don't get as much coverage, then you need to put your foot down and say, no, I will not accept this. No. And you need to not care about who you lose in the process, because if you value your life, you will learn to stop playing with it and you will not allow someone to play with it. You will say no and you will walk away. It doesn't matter if you lose a friend, if you lose a man, if you lose a mom, a father, a brother, a sister. It doesn't matter. Let them go. Because when you are dead, okay? Dead, there will be nothing to fight for. Nothing is going to matter. You will have been slapped around and choked around for nothing. If you have children, your children will be left with nothing. Is that what you want your life to succumb to? Is that what you want your life to become? Covering up bruises, sticking your tongue out, smiling for the camera, and then being choked 5 minutes later, being slapped across your face because you put too much salt on the food, being made fun of, being verbally abused, being accosted by the person who's supposed to love you. And then some of you are so sick in the head, unfortunately, that you will romanticize and you will glamorize having relations, intercourse, okay, with that same abuser at the end of the night. This is a little bit off topic, but there is a singer, a big singer. Her name is her name is Carol G, okay, without the accent. Carol G. Carol G has a song. It's called Déjalo que me miren. It means let them look at me, basically. And she has a line in her song. She says, Me gusta sexo después de toda de la, what does she say? She says it really quickly and she doesn't pronounce all the syllables. Hold on. She says, Me gusta sexo después de toda las peleas, something like that, but it's not like pronounced very well. So it's very fast. You might not catch it the first time unless your ear is trained to understand Spanish lyrics like that. But what that translates to is I like sex after all of our fights, which means that after this girl is done possibly getting beat on, possibly being choked, possibly being verbally accosted, possibly, she then lays down with the man that's abusing her. That's really unfortunate. It's devastating that this is the kind of quote unquote role model that the Latin music industry likes to prop up and put before a bunch of girls, because unfortunately across Latin America and amongst the Latino community, even in the United States, I'm sure many girls have that exact same mentality. They're not being treated right, but they still lay down with that man. They still please him sexually instead of running for the hills. And in this country, we are more fortunate because of the fact that we can call the police. In some countries, the government and the police force is so corrupt that if you call someone, if you even have someone to call, they can be paid off to make those domestic abuse disputes disappear. Y'all need to stop playing with your lives. Stop playing with your life. I don't know how many times. I really don't know what is going to take for some people to recognize that protecting your abusers will not end well for you. You need to stop thinking about other people and what they think of you and whether or not they will accept you more than you care about accepting yourself. If you value yourself, if you value your life, you need to act like it. And unfortunately, in this day that we live in, a lot of you care way more about looking good for other people on social media than you care about looking in the mirror every day and every night and being satisfied with what you see. It is a process, it's a long journey, but if you don't get on the road, how are you ever going to get there? If you don't run in the opposite direction of the abuser, how are you ever going to get there? How are you going to clear your mind of all those negative thoughts that tell you you are worthless? Why does it take so many cases like the Gabby Petito case for you to understand that things do not end well when you're in an abusive relationship? And when you're a brown skinned girl, it's even more unfortunate because you don't even get this kind of coverage. You don't get this nationwide manhunt. You don't get all these people talking about some bring Gabby home. No, that's not what happens. In crime capitals like Chicago, they will run this Gabrielle story every single day on the hour. They will run this story as if many children and women are not being killed by Black men in Chicago every day, all day. They don't run those stories. They don't get nationwide coverage. It's swept under the rug like a lot of other things in the city of Chicago, unfortunately and allegedly. However, no matter your race, no matter your ethnic background, no matter whether you're a woman or a man, you need to understand a fundamental principle about life, which is that you need to value yours. And you need not to surround yourself with people who want to cost you your life instead of complementing your life. Value your life. I tell the people that I'm around that whenever I see fit, I don't care how it sounds. I don't care. I would tell a person and I will be prepared to lose that person's respect or that person's support. I do not care. I would tell a person, you better drive right while you have me in this car. If you want to drive around like a crazy person, if you want to be on your phone while you're driving, pull over and let me out. I really don't care. I've said it and I will say it again. Pull over and let me out. Drop me off at my house and you go recklessly drive through the streets como un baboso, como un estúpido, como un imbécil. You go do that kind of stuff like a payaso, but you're going to leave me out. I tell the people around me, value your life, okay? And if you're not going to value your life, you're going to value mine while I'm right here next to you. And when I'm not with you, you go do what you want to do. I don't want anything to do with that. I've gone through way too much. I've been abused in too many ways by too many people who were supposed to care for me. They were supposed to love me. They were supposed to protect me. And they chose not to. So why would I protect them? Where is the logic in that? Why would I protect them? At what point, this is what you need to ask yourself, at what point do I say it's time to save myself? You are not selfish if you put yourself first. Please understand that without yourself, you don't have your world. Without the self, you have nothing. Because guess what? When it's time for you to go, peacefully, not due to homicide, of course, but when it's time for you to go, nobody, and I do mean nobody, is going to say, wait, let me get in. When it's time to lower your casket into the ground, when it's time to throw your carcass into a pit of fire and turn you into ashes, no one is going to strip naked and say, throw me in too, burn me too. No. Nobody's building a bunk bed inside of your casket so they can fit in there with you. Nobody. So why are you putting other people above yourself? You come first. You have to set an example for everyone else that comes after you in your life. And for you women out here, I really have to say this. I've probably said it in other videos. God knows I've been thinking it for so long. You women today have really low standards. It's quite pitiful. It's really sad. And I understand that amongst men, there are not a lot of great options to choose from in a lot of our cultures and communities and environments all around the world. However, I'd rather be by myself. Personally, I'd rather be by myself than be with any man because I don't need him. I went through a lot of stuff in my life with no one by my side. I have been the only person in my life who has consistently advocated for me. What do I look like putting any of that to the side for a man who has the option to come and go? I don't get to come and go. No matter how hard life gets for me, I don't get to come and go. I have to wake up and I have to face it. I have to advocate for myself. I will perish if I don't. I will perish. I will die. I will be taken advantage of. I will be left in the streets like a dog if I do not advocate for myself, if I do not protect my energy. I don't care who I lose. And I mean that. The people who know me know that I mean that. It's called having standards. It's called having respect for yourself and everything you've had to overcome. Some of you women allow your daughters to be abused, to be violated by a man, if you could even call him that, just because he pays your bills. Are you that stupid? Are you that lazy? Are you that okay with being so shameful? I don't care what anyone has to say about being judgmental. I don't care. We're all full of judgments. You're wrong. You're wrong for allowing a man to come into your household and violate your children because you value his validation of you more than you value your own children. You are disgusting. You are wrong as a woman if you allow a man to come into your life and slap you around and piss on you and spit on you in front of your children or behind closed doors like we cannot hear what's going on. We as children grow up watching our pitiful mothers and pitiful grandmothers, yes, pitiful women, allow a man to come into this household and do nothing. The bare minimum that you women ask of him is to pay the bills, to buy you a nice little purse, and mow the lawn. You will have your infant wash the dishes before you tell your husband to wash the dishes. You will have your toddler prepare a 4-course meal before you tell that man, get your ass up and cook something while you are off at work. Some of you should be ashamed of what you have taught your daughters about romantic relationships and what you have taught yourselves and what you have allowed your grandchildren to witness. It is shameful. It is the reason that your daughters and your sons end up in situations like Gabrielle Petito. May she rest in peace. These lessons of accepting abuse start when a child is young. It starts far beyond the time that your daughter meets someone like Gabrielle Petito's boyfriend. It starts in the home with this child watching her mother be slapped around and disrespected, and watching her go into the room with him later that night and suck him dry like an idiot, like a desperate wannabe housewife. This is how you create situations like Gabrielle Petito. I don't know what her mother taught her about being a woman. However, I've been through enough. I've spoken to enough girls. I know enough women in these toxic situations to know that these examples and these lessons of accepting abuse start in the home, and they start with seeing it firsthand from the people who are closest to you. The fact that she was in this abusive relationship lets me know that she saw a man abuse a woman in her life. And the woman responded to it as if it was normal. Whether it was her mother or her grandmother or her aunt is irrelevant to me. I don't care. It doesn't even matter because unfortunately she's gone now. She didn't even have an opportunity to grow out of that. But some of you who are alive do. You do have an opportunity to do better than what your mother or your grandmother or your aunt or your sister chooses to do for herself or her children. You do not have to accept the pity or the pitifulness of a toxic relationship. And you look foolish when you get online and you put the camera in your face and you smile and you laugh next to the man that's choking you to death every night, or at least attempting to. Stop telling yourselves that abuse is to be confused or correlated with intimacy. The two are different. Love is not pain. Love is not hard. It is not supposed to be. If it is, get out. Get out. Vete coño. Get out. You need to leave. You need to go be by yourself. Stop accepting less than what you deserve. I did an entire video about that, but of course, on this shameful platform, like many other platforms, when you have a lesson to teach people that is motivational and inspirational and transformational, that is not what is pushed through the algorithm. But if I sit here and I talk about these fugazi celebrities, that is what you all come over here to hear. Says a lot about where you are in your own journey of self-love. It shows how far you need to go in the process of self-preservation and self-actualization. Read about it. Prioritize your hierarchy of needs. Take care of yourself. Value yourself. Stop protecting your abusers. If you're being abused, you need to let the people around you know as soon as possible, especially because if you do end up dead, it will help everyone figure out what really happened to you. But of course, we don't want you to end up dead. Better the abuser to end up dead than you, right? Better for people to not be out here abusing people in the first place. But I learned a long time ago, I've said many times, people grow when they want to. People learn when they want to. The only thing I can do is take what I've learned and apply it to myself. I hope that you choose to do the same thing. On that note, I will say thank you for listening. Tata mi amores, take care. Protect yourself.
Gonna give you this mic back. But what I'm going to say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.